and thank you for clicking on this tutorial. This is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this striped brimmed beanie. But you know, the great thing about this beanie is that you can remove the pom-pom and make it a striped slouchy beanie. Stick around to the end, because at the end of this video I show you a new way to add a pom-pom that's easily removable for yourself and your customers, and it's a very inexpensive way for you to make the holders that hold the pom-pom on. So stick around to the end and make sure you see that, because you're gonna want to know. You're gonna want to know about that one. Trust me. So, anyways, please join me as we head into this video. I've used Caron Simply Soft yarn in the color Pagoda and the color Plum Wine. I think they just look so beautiful together. So let's get busy. Once you get your materials and your machine ready, let's get started. Okay, so if we have our yarn ready, we're going to begin our project. We're going to start with a long tail cast on. So let's bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder there. We're going to go behind that first black one, in front of the next. Behind and in front, all the way around. Okay, when I get a little bit done, I'm going to stop and reset my row counter to 0 so it's ready to go when I get started. Okay. In front and behind, all the way around till you get to that last white needle, and it should be behind. Okay, then you're going to put it into your yarn feeder. And we're going to do 70 rows of this base color, okay? So it's clicked on row 1, and I'm going to finish that row. Now this is row 2. I'm going to finish that row. Now I find with this Caron Simply Soft yarn, I have to put medium tension on it. Otherwise, if I don't put a medium tension on it, I hold it between my fingers like this, and if I don't put a medium tension on it, then this yarn is too loose and it snags underneath the tip of the needles, or it drops or tucks. So you've got to put a little bit of pressure on this particular yarn for some reason. And then you're going to go around. Now I take a pretty evenly slow speed actually until I get about 10 rows done when I'm using this yarn. And then make sure it's loose in your ball. So this is a new ball, so I'm going to take it out. This is Caron Simply Soft in the color Pagoda. It's like an emerald color, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I just love it. Okay, so you're going to go around, and once you get started, then you can go a little bit faster, and you complete 77 rows of this color. And when you get to 77, I'll see you back, okay? Okay, this is 75, and you'll see I've rolled it up in a donut just to keep the tension even. This is 76 and 77. I'm going to finish row 77. And I saw that black marked peg coming around, so I knew I was close to the end. I'm going to cut off my yarn. Again, this is Caron Simply Soft Pagoda, and I just love it. And I'm going to now put the next color in, which is... what is this called? This is Caron Simply Soft, and it is called Plum Wine. I think these two colors look beautiful together. So I'm going to do 3 or 4 needles. Then I'm going to take both ends of that working yarn and pull on it. I got to help this one underneath. Then I'm going to tie this off. Okay, and I'm going to cut this so that it's not quite so long. There we go. And I'm going to do 3 rows of this Plum Wine. So up till row 80. Okay, that was 78. This is 79 and 80. That's 3 rows of the Plum Wine. I see that marked peg coming around, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to snip that. Put it into the center. I'm going to take my base color, do the same thing, hold both ends. I'm going to do 3 or 4 stitches. Then I'm going to give that a little tug. And what that does, and I try to mention this in every video that I make whenever I do color changes, what that does is it makes the tension of the first few stitches of that row snug, just like the rest of them. Otherwise, if you don't do it so pull it so it drops over that red divider, then you've got like a wonky kind of loose stitch in the beginning there, and I don't like that. So that's why I pull it, to make the tension right. So now we're going to take this color and we're going to do 2 rows. So this is row 81, and this is row 82. I see that black marked peg coming around. I know I'm at the end. I'm going to cut that off. Open the yarn feeder, put it in between the last white and the first black. I'm going to go ahead and grab my plumb line again. Do the same thing with the color change. 3 needles there. Pull on it, help that go underneath. I'm going to tie a knot to secure it. This yarn works like a dream in the machine if you put a little bit of tension on the yarn in the back. Some yarns you don't need tension on. This one you need to have tension on. So we're going to do 3 rows. This is 83. Oops, got to pull some slack out of there. Okay. Clicked on 84. And it's clicking on 85. And when I see that black marker coming around, I'm going to go ahead and do another color change. Okay, I'm going to snip this off. I'm going to open that yarn feeder, put my end between my last white, my first black, go ahead and put my main color back in there. I'm going to grab both ends, do 3 or 4 needles, pull that tight, and again, I'm going to give that a nice knot. I'm going to take all of these and kind of cut them off to about the same length, okay? And then we're going to continue on till we get to row 140 and finish row 140. That will be 55 rows of this color, okay? I'm going to roll this up into a donut just because there's enough room to continue that. And what that does is it makes my tension around the barrel here even as it goes around, and it helps to prevent tucked stitches. So all right, so you put your main color back in and you go ahead and do 55 more rows, which will take you to row 140. You finish row 140, see me back, and we will do the long tail cast off. As your project gets longer and starts to get a little bit lower, don't wait till it reaches a table now. Wait till maybe it goes down 3 or 4 inches and then roll it up again. That way it keeps your barrel tight, okay? Your tension tight around your barrel and will give you even stitches. All right, so continue on until you get finished 140 rows, and I'll see you back. Happy knitting! All right, so this is finishing off row 139. I'm going to click on 140 and I'm going to finish that row. I see my black marked red divider coming around, so I know I'm near the end. I'm going to cut off quite a long tail because we're going to do a long tail cast off and you need to have extra yarn. So open your guide, put that in between the last white and the first black. Make sure you shut this all the time because if you leave it open and then you rotate your barrel, it nicks the end here and it could either break this off or break your needle. So make sure that you always have that closed when you're not working. Okay, so we're going to thread our needle. We're going to rotate our barrel just till the first needle is loose and take that off. Now I only do 1 at a time for the first 6 or 7 needles. Oops, and now I'm going to put my thumb over that one so it doesn't fall off because I did it twice. Okay, until I can get some slack in here. Otherwise, I find it makes it, you know, a situation where you can get some dropped stitches. Okay, so any loop that's exposed over these red teeth can, as you're taking the one off before it can fall off, and that's how you get a dropped stitch. So until I can get a few done, let's do 10, 7, 8. You wouldn't have to do this many, but I'm going to just because this is such a fine yarn. I don't want it to fall off the teeth. 9, 10. Now I'll do a few at a time. Okay. Grabbing them on your needle with your thumb. Now, if you're scared they're going to fall off these needles, always put your finger over one and hold that as you're taking off the stitch prior to it, okay? And that will keep it from falling off and it'll prevent a drop stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take a few more of these off. You're going to love this Caron Simply Soft yarn. It makes such a beautiful beanie, and it's so nice to work with if you put medium tension on it. I find if I don't, again, I've said that a couple times already, but I don't want you to get a ball and then right away say, oh, this stuff doesn't work, so I'm going to take it back, or I'm never going to buy it again. Put a little bit of tension on it, and it helps to get it underneath those hooks of the needle. Otherwise it splits, and then it, you know, causes knots on your needle, and it gives you problems. Okay, that's my tip of the day. All right, so we're almost done here. 43, 44, 45, and 46. All right, so we have our project off the machine, and we're going to now go ahead and put our beanie together. So join me for that. I'm going to just remove my Addi. All right, we have it off the machine, and we're going to give it a light stretch widthwise all the way down. Can unravel that. See, I love those colors together. A light stretch all the way down widthwise, and you're going to do the same thing lengthwise, it's already soft, but to soften up the stitches and put your rows right in the place that they need to be. Okay, and so we're going to grab an end. Doesn't really matter which end, so I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to cut this yarn end off so it's shorter, because I don't need a yarn end that's that long to sew this up. Okay, and I'm going to take a smaller needle than what I used to take it off the machine. I'm going to now close up my end. Okay, but before I close it up, actually, all the way, what I want to do is stick my hand in there, go all the way down to the, I don't want to lose my needle, so I'm just going to take it off. Go all the way down to the end, grab this other one, pull it just a little bit, take hold of that yarn end and the end of your beanie, just like so, and bring it through. It'll make it easier to close up that end later, okay? So now we want to take that yarn and pull it out. And actually, we're going to go ahead and close this end first. The one that's on the inside, you're going to close first. I was going to close that other end first, and if I did that, then I should have drawn this end through to the other side instead. But I reached in and grabbed this end, so we're going to finish the inside end first. Okay, and it doesn't really matter which one you do, because you're going to join them together and tie them up so they're nice and close anyways, and then you can turn your hat, you know, right side out after you're done this part. Okay, so we're going to pull that up, make sure all the stitches are tucked in there, and then I just go around that loop, getting as many stitches as I can, and give it a little reinforcement. Okay, so just underneath those first row of stitches, give it a pull. Go underneath, just like so. Give it a pull. Don't pull so hard that you break your thread or your yarn, because surprisingly enough, it can happen so easily, and it's so disappointing. Okay, then I'm going to tie a knot, just like that. Now I've got my inside one. Now I'm going to take my outside one. Again, it doesn't matter which end you do this with. Doesn't matter which end is on the inside and which end is on the outside, because we're going to fix that in a second. And then we're going to reinforce this side just like we did the other side, going around that first row of stitches. Okay? Such a soft yarn. I just am loving it. And I'm going to just keep going, smoothing it out so I can see those stitches to get around them. And then I'm going to go ahead and you grab the one that's on the inside, but before I do that, I'm going to snip these off so they're a workable length. Okay, I'm going to pull on that, tie a knot, tie it so I can feel that the inside layer is coming up snug to the top one. I want those close together, and then I'm going to tie another knot, and I always do a third one just for good measure. Okay, now you can take your longer needle. You can use the same shorter one if you want, but I like to take the longer one. I'm going to thread those ends. I'm going to put my hand up through that beanie, and I'm going to, because it helps me hold it secure, and I'm going to thread those through the two layers. Okay, then cut it off. And we've got our beanie. Okay, but as you see, I've got my stripes on the outside. If you want to wear this as a slouchy beanie, that's exactly what you do. You just wear it like that and it's slouchy, and you don't make a brim on it. But we want that to be a brim. That's so if we want that to be a brim, we got to turn it so that the color is on the inside. The stripe is on the inside. Then we're going to just put our hands on there and smooth it all out, get it all nice and flat, and then we can roll up our brim. And there you have it. A beautiful striped beanie. I'm going to go ahead and put a pom-pom on this, so stay with me as I go grab it and I'll meet you back. Okay, I was deciding between gray and white, but I think that this gray looks very rich against these colors, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my hat the other way. Then I'm going to put my crochet hook into the center of the inside. Bring it up through the center of the outside, not through the side there, but through the center. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my pom-pom, and you see they have a little elastic on there. I stretch that out because when you put pressure on it and pull it through, it works a lot easier to get it through. Okay, then I'm going to go on the inside of my hat. I've got my elastic there, put my finger under it. Now if you look on my table there, you'll see this little plastic thing. I just came up with this idea, actually. I do have a suggestion on my channel where I said you can use those little plastic stitch markers that are like a little pin. They work great too, but I went and I cut these out of a hard plastic cutting board. It's a rectangle cutting board that I bought from the Dollarama, and I thought I could make little notches. People buy these things like in the wooden, they're much the same shape, but they're wooden, and I thought I can do a do-it-yourself one. So you stick that under there, and then you grab your loom hook. You don't actually even need a loom hook. You can just use your fingers, but I like to use a loom hook. And then you pull it over so it goes into that little notch, and that holds your pom-pom secure and beautiful. You can do whatever way you choose and go for it that way. But this is how I'm going to start doing it, okay? And there you have your hat. Now take a look at that beanie, pom-pom. It looks great, doesn't it? It looks really good, but you wait until I blow dry it for 15 seconds and then come back and see what it looks like, okay? Okay, just take a look at that pom-pom. Now that I blow dried it for 10 to 15 seconds on high heat, all around, it just fluffs it up and it makes it look so much better. Now, if you are at a craft show or you've got a pile of these that you're taking out of a bag and putting on a table, take them and just shake them really, really hard, just for 5 or 10 seconds, and it'll basically do the same thing. But I find with the blow dryer, it does the best job. So there you go. That's a pom-pom that's been blow dried for 10 to 15 seconds on high heat. So I'm glad you joined me in this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'd appreciate that very much. And if you can hit that little like button, that would be an extra special bonus. So thanks a lot, my friends, for joining me. Take care and have a super day.